Nomader Bitcast. I'm Nigel Sanderson.
Jonathan Claudio.
So, Mr. Claudio.
Yes.
Wanted to bring you here today to talk about film and music.
Yes.
And their relationship.
Yes. So, and you know, it's a really interesting concept that these artists have come up with. Back in the early days of film, there was no sound, there was no audio. Yeah. It was silent and music. You had Charlie Chaplin doing his thing, and
due to the limitations,
right.
They would just have somebody in the theater playing the piano.
Right, yeah, and
to the film.
And and then eventually they came out with talkies, with music. I mean, with voice, and they could have easily got rid of music, but instead, they kept the element because they knew that music is a component to convey or create an emotion.
Yes, and there was also a pushback when the talkies came on the scene. Like, all the old silent film people were like, no, that's never going to work. That's a hoax. Now, I mean, look at us now. Look where we are.
Yeah, and it's great because you have these musics that are so iconic. Like, you don't have to see Star Wars to know Star Wars.
Right.
You can listen to it, right. And not even just the music, but like the sound effects too.
Yeah.
It's just
zoom, zoom, and the lasers. Like, when I watch a sci-fi show or commercial or something like that, and I'll hear that certain laser noise, I'm like, oh, that's from the Star Wars sound pack,
Exactly. Yeah, and so that for me is very special. And as a kid, I was a weird guy who listens to like the Dark Knight soundtrack, whatever, like jamming to it.
Preach it to the choir, bro.
like the dish basra,
Yeah. Oh, come on, man. That shit, basra.
Right.
Like, I'm so mad Hans Zimmer didn't win an award for that.
I know.
It's criminal. It's criminal, bro.
Has he ever won? I don't think he's ever won an award.
I don't know. I know that was the last time I watched the Oscars. It wasn't because of blockbuster movies. It was because of soundtrack. He didn't get the award for the soundtrack. I was like, you guys don't have ears. Like, I'm done with you.
For real. Yeah. And same with Inception too, at the time soundtrack. Dude, that's so popular. That's all over YouTube. Like, you'll see a motivation video and you'll hear the time music.
Dun, 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 dun. Like, come on, man. Hans Zimmer is a genius.
Yeah, he
come
really
on.
is.
Did you know for Sherlock Holmes, he smashed up a piano, put it back together, and played the tune. That's how you get the Sherlock Holmes theme for the Robert Downey Jr. movie. That's why it's like ding, 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 ding,
wow.
ding. I'm like, who would think of that?
Dude,
who would think of that?
That's really creative.
Yes, man.
Wow.
Hans Zimmer all day, man.
Yeah, he's definitely like up there, like one of the best. Him and the Ludwig guy, the guy who did the
Ludwig?
Yeah, Ludwig, right? That's how you pronounce it.
Ludwig Göransson.
Yeah.
He's on the come up, man.
Yeah,
he's not even on the come up anymore. He's there.
Yeah, you're right. He did a Nolan soundtrack, so I guess he is there.
He did Nolan. He did the Mandalorian show, both seasons.
Yeah, Black Panther. He did that one too.
He worked on a number of Childish Gambino stuff, but yeah, he's a genius too, man.
Yeah,
like it's crazy, man, what he's done.
Now I do want to ask you. So like, what's your interpretation of music and film? Like, when you're watching a movie. Oh, you know what do you prefer? Do you prefer like the music to be subtle and to like try to enhance an emotion, or like be like a theme? I guess like because there's perfect example. You have the Zack Snyder Justice League, and that music is more kind of dark, I guess, or kind of trying to match the scene.
It's funny that you say that, because you take his cut mixed with Josh Whedon's cut, the music is totally different.
Yeah, it's totally different.
Even the color grade is different, but we're talking about music. But like, it's totally different, so it gives a whole different feel.
Yeah, exactly.
To the scenery and to the the whole atmosphere of the project. And for me personally, just to answer your question, like I would say it really depends. It really depends on the material. Like you take something like A Quiet Place, you're not gonna want like a big overreaching score that distracts you from the fact that you need to hear this little sound. Like I mean, the sound design in A Quiet Place is genius in itself, which is why it won, I think, an Oscar or a Golden Globe or something like that for sound design, because like what they pick and choose for you to hear to convey like anxiety,
Right.
and even with the one daughter who's deaf, like how you hone into what she's seeing, what she's hearing, when she has her hearing aid. It's like it's a real work of art.
Yeah.
And then like it also depends too, because I was watching a martial arts film, a fairly new one that came out last year on Netflix. I don't want to say the name because I don't want to bash it, but like I watched it because I'm a big fan of a lot of the actors, well, factors I like to call them, fight actors that are in there. And the one fight scene was so good, but it was diminished by the score of the music. Like the music was the same as when the build up to the fight, and it was kind of like one note, dun, 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 dun,
So it's like repetitive.
But they're like doing these crazy moves, and I'm like, I feel like they just took like a track, an MP3 track, and just overlaid it. So this scene is done. Like, do you see how this guy's punching? And like, it didn't really follow. And like, so like, it really depends on the material. Like, and like, for example, The Dark Knight Rises. I was telling this to my boy the other day because he was like, man, I'm really starting to pay. He's not a film guy, but he was like, I'm really starting to pay attention to the music and the sound effects and films. I was like, oh, for real? Well, do yourself a favor. Go back and watch The Dark Knight Rises, where that scene where Bane and Batman fight for the first time in that sewage tunnel.
Yeah, it was no music, actually.
The sound design is is crazy, man. Like, I remember I saw that in theaters, and it blew my mind because they designed the punches to be like Batman's just like, pop, pop. You could just hear his breath.
Right, yeah.
The emphasis was on his breath and how he was exhausted. And whenever Bane hit him, boom, you heard that. You felt the vibrations with the bass and everything. Yeah. Like, I was like, yo, this is genius, man. And that came out before I was even into decide to go down the film route. I was just like, man, that was genius. And I saw how Christopher Nolan talked about how he just wanted to emphasize like how much powerful Bane was compared to Batman, and how Batman was exhausted. You could hear his breath and his grunts. He's
he gets frustrated.
Yeah, like it was, and you just hear the water trickling down, and like it's awesome, man.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, and that's and it's really cool that how like sound, it does play like a part of like the character's identity.
Yeah.
A lot of thought goes to stuff like that. And it's just us as human beings, I guess, we like, what am I trying to get at here? Like we identify ourselves with sound and music. Oh
yeah, it's a universal language.
Yeah, I had my baby sister, for instance. She was like she was like not even like one, like maybe one. But not even. Like, she was, like, a couple months old. But when she heard music from, like, the commercials and stuff, automatically, like, she would, like, start dancing to it or whatever. And it's like, no one taught her that, Right. Like, no one in the house did that. But, I find that amazing how, like, that's how connected we are to this stuff. And, a lot of thought goes to it. And I feel that, like, I don't know, because, like, if you go to, like, the 80s, right? Like, if you listen to, like, the Batman soundtrack in the 80s or the Superman soundtrack, it's more like theme-ish type of thing. But now music is more, like, it really is more about capturing an emotion. And that just works in film. Like, it just really, it really works.
Yeah, like, I would say music is more cinematic now. There's a lot of repeated, like, kind of like for lack of a better term, heartbeatish kind of sounds and
Yeah.
like reverberating sounds and stuff, and it's kind of like an imitation of life there, and I think that came more from cinema, and now cinema's taken that and really riding with that, because when it comes to music, music is universal, man. There's a reason why people can just vibe out to a song without even knowing what the lyrics are, but still just know what the song is trying to convey. Like,
Yeah.
it's so universal, and it really binds us together as a human race. And like even when you like there's studies that show if you say positive things to water, it'll crystallize in a certain way, in a beautiful way, kind of like snowflakes. But if you say negative things, it crystallizes kind of harshly and looks grotesque. And it just shows the power of vibration and the power of sound.
And the power of your words.
Yeah. And I was looking into that too. I thought it was funny because we were going to do this podcast, and like I was looking at something and it was talking about how like the vibrations on a map, or they mapped out like vibral patterns, harmonic patterns or something, and they look similar to like the DNA patterns and like water patterns and stuff like that, and it just talks about how everything is connected through vibrations. I was like, man, that's kind of deep, man.
That is deep. That is deep. And it, like, I feel like in a way that ties in with even like you. So you know how like everything was created. If everything ties into creation, like vibration, like that means something had to like reverberate that. You know, like a sound had to like.
It's constantly reverberating.
Yeah.
Like even our human senses, we can't see certain frequencies, we can't hear certain frequencies, so there's stuff going on that we don't know about.
Yeah.
Like even now the universe is still expanding, and that ties into like with music, like you can dictate how your audience should feel in a scene just by what's playing underneath it, or even if you don't even put sound, put music, if you just have
like an ambient type
of like if you just have room tones, like a good director for that is Denis Villeneuve. I know I'm saying his name wrong, but but there's certain powerful scenes that he'll just have no score on it, and he'll just like and that comes into sound design too. He'll only have sound effects of maybe like the wind or somebody walking by or something like that. Like you utilize that so that your audience can maybe come with their own interpretation, or you even feel the mood of the scene even deeper because you don't have a music telling you how to feel. You just interpret that. Like that's pretty powerful, especially if the audience comes back with the same feeling.
Yeah, and that's interesting. Like I remember I don't know if I was reading or if I was listening to something, but the dude said that like he says like these scientists, they discovered that at least I guess they theorized that before language came music. And of course, before music came grunts and stuff like, ugh.
Yeah.
But music came before language, and music essentially created language because language, words, how like we use it to describe things, right? We use it to define and to express, right? Which is why if you're good with words, you can sort of persuade or you know.
It's funny that you say that because my father, he's from Trinidad, and people always mistake the Trinidad accent for Jamaican. And I always try to tell people, like, to me, Trinidad is a little more harmonious. Like, it goes up and down. Like, hey, Nigel, how you doing today? You know, it's like, it's kind of like a wave. But with, like, Jamaican, it's kind of harsher, you know, like, them boy right there, you know, like, it's kind of right there.
Yeah.
But, like, and then even, like, with certain languages, your intonation in the language is kind of different, and depending on what kind of word you're saying. If you could say the same word, be like tree, but if you say the different word, like tree, that means a whole different word. I think it's like that for like Asian
really?
languages, for like Mandarin and Cantonese and stuff like that, which is why they're so hard to like learn. But it's like how
Right.
you say it, like the tone that you say it. I'm like,
Yeah.
that's so intricate.
Yeah, and it makes sense though, because if you do say tree, right, that means you're like it's like light. But if you say tree, like people are gonna interpret that, I guess,
Right.
if you're. And for me, I just find that so interesting because it's it is like the way you talk. In a way, it's like music. It's like you're
Yes.
singing, but you're not like intentionally doing it, of course.
That's why
But-
it's so hard to convey your point on a text message.
Yeah.
Like if you send
Yeah.
me something like controversial
Yeah.
and I say bro, that means one thing. If I'm like bro, that means another. If I'm like bruh.
But, and I mean, I guess you have emojis to help with that, but it's just not the same, you
Right,
know?
exactly. It's not the same, man. Like arguments could be like started over text because someone interpreted what you said wrong because they didn't hear how you like said it
Right.
tonally.
Yeah.
So it was like, no, I didn't mean that, bro. like, cause I remember I texted something to a friend over like it was like over a shooting, a police shooting. I was like, man, I don't expect you to understand. But he thought I said it like, I don't expect you to understand. But I was like, no. I had to text back like, no, I didn't expect you to understand because you're not black, so like, you're not gonna understand.
Oh my! And, I'm glad we bring this up because I think that's the problem with our society today. Like Twitter, for instance. Like my God, if you put something there, people are gonna interpret it and they're gonna just take it, and then you're gonna be like, oh, I didn't mean it like that. But
Right. And then they be like, oh man, you just capping and you try to say you ain't mean it like that, but
yeah,
it's
dude.
like, nah. That's why I don't even mess with stuff like that. Like,
Yeah, I don't even understand Twitter. Like,
no, I don't put no like philosophical or stuff like that online because people
Nah.
will run with it any kind of way. Oh, so you mean this? Like, nah.
Yeah,
man.
you
if
know
I do that,
that's
I do it
true.
in a video or
Yeah,
something.
yeah, it's probably better to do it that way too.
Exactly. I mean, people are still gonna run with it how they want to run with it.
But at least with the video, there's more effort in you trying
Yes.
to convey whatever idea or
Exactly.
information you're trying to spell
And
out.
you ultimately know how I meant to say it, and you know that I said it. Because sometimes people will put something out, and they're like, "Oh, I got hacked," and they're like, "Oh, did you know?" Like, so
Yeah.
it's like you know what I said, you know how I said it. So if you interpret it a certain way, that's on you. That ain't on me. But
Yeah,
that's how it is.
and that's cool. And I also remember reading about how music, like a lot of philosophers believe, like I think it's Socrates, Plato, and then there's this Asian philosopher, I forget his name, but a lot of them would like strong believers of music being the heart of a state, and and it helps it construct laws within a state. I know I'm going deep. I know that's like a whole nother turn, but
Nah, it's funny that you say that because before I went to film school, I went to school for philosophy. And that's,
okay, so
that's
you
pretty
might,
much like universally agreed that music and sound is like the universal language of humanity, of all life, period. Not just humanity, of all life. Like it's reflected in everything that they see. And I mean, philosophy was created, period, just to expand our minds and to show us the meaning of life. And a lot of people convey that through music. I mean, look at what like Mozart does to your brain. Like, like the studies show, and like even like certain. I just lost my train of thought. But like certain studies have shown like certain music can do like put your brain at a certain wavelength.
yeah, like a frequent, yeah.
Yeah, like I know when I need to calm down, I put on Beethoven. That's my guy.
Like I know, and when you brought up the wavelengths, like there's a scene in it. I haven't seen the movie, but I remember watching like a scene, and there's in a part like the frequency is kind of like it goes up and down and up and down and like yeah, they do that to kind of like create a sense of like a hypnot like a
Right.
you know. So yeah, that does make sense. But I guess, tying back to the how music and, it construct laws and stuff, and how it, it can show a heart of a nation. it's I really feel that these filmmakers they know this and they use it to construct, I guess, the films. Not all of them, I guess.
I mean, when we got to film school, what do they tell you? Audio is the most important component.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Who was it? Oh, darn. I haven't been to school in a while. But yeah, Brett used to say that. There it is. That's his name. Brett.
Yo, I'll tell you one thing. That was the first class. His class was the first class I took when I got to film. Oh, yeah, I met you there. And that was the first class I ever took. And, man, that blew my mind, what you could do with sound and how he rebuilt a whole scene on sound. I was like, yo, that's amazing. He did it with like free sound bits that he found offline. Just created a scene. It seemed like a Hollywood scene. I was like, yo, that's amazing, man.
Yeah.
Like, it blew my mind.
Yeah.
Because I grew up with music. I think you did too, right? Like,
I grew up with music.
Yeah, like, as somebody who grew up with music, and you're like, dang, so this is a part of that too? This is an important component. Because, like, for us, it seems kind of silly, but when I first got into film, I was like, man, that's like audio and music was a second thought. And you could tell by my early works that was a second thought, which is why they were trash. But, like, you really gotta, like Brett said in class, like, if you only have a few bucks, a couple hundred or something, at the end of the day, spend that money on the sound guy, because that's the most important part. They can't hear what's going on.
Yeah, I think wasn't he the one that said good audio can replace crappy visual? Like, you can have a bad camera, but if the audio sounds good.
Yeah.
He was the one, right?
Yeah.
That stuck with my mind.
For real, man. Like, and really, audio is the most important part.
Yeah.
I would say maybe the second part is lighting. But audio is the most important part. And you really got to put your time into it, put your work into it. Like when I started doing film and getting serious, I put my money into the audio, and it shows. Like, it takes a whole different level. Like, sound effects and music, royalty-free music, because that's hard to find. Like, put your money into that when you're first starting out, and you know that you're going to, like, do this on a weekly basis. Put your money into that. Find one of these, like, royalty-free subscriptions. Put the money in there. Like, for my channel, I use Artlist, and it's you get the license for every platform that you want to put it on. Do that. Do something like that, because it's really important, and nothing's worse than finding a song that fits your scene perfectly, and then you find out you're going to get flagged for it.
Yeah.
And then,
nowadays, man, that's oof.
Yeah, it's rough, man. Like, some things have just broken my heart, because I'm like, I don't even want to finish this project anymore.
Yeah.
Because I built this scene on this music, and now it's like,
Yeah, and it's crazy. Like, a lot of times you do that too. Like, you hear a song, and then the visual comes.
Yes.
Yes.
Like, I myself, I write, I storyboard, I edit with music in my ears.
Yeah.
Like each character, like, if I'm writing the script, a character will have a certain song. Like, I have Spotify. I'll make a playlist for each character. I'll make a playlist for each project. Like, it gets me in the zone. It gets me in the mood. And, like, when I'm editing, I'll have, like, lo-fi music going while I'm editing.
Heck yeah, I do lo-fi. You can't go wrong with lo-fi,
no,
dude.
You can't.
You can't go wrong with that.
I'll do a mixture of lo-fi and jazzy lo-fi music and stuff. Specifically when I'm color grading, when I don't need sound. When I don't need to hear the sound of the scene.
Right.
I'll put that on, rock out to it, man. And, yeah, man, music is just so instrumental for your work, for life. Like, have you ever met somebody who
doesn't listen to music?
Yeah, like, you ever met that person like that?
No.
I've met one person in my life, haven't talked to them since. But, like, I was just like, how? No, I don't listen to any music.
That's a lie. Because everywhere you go,
I feel like it's a lie.
Everywhere you go, you hear music.
Yes, like,
you go to the grocery store, there's music. You go outside, you're gonna hear a car with like music playing.
Yes.
You can't escape it.
Even me, like even when I'm out, I'll try to make a beat in my head Like
Yeah.
while I'm out grocery shopping, based on the sounds in there, I'm like,
Yeah, dude, I have a bad habit doing that.
Yeah,
Like, I'm
and I'll
always
just
like
be-
tapping on things.
I'll just be bumping and somebody be like, hey, I was like, oh, hey, I didn't realize I was bumping the
Yeah.
imaginary music in my ear. Like, well,
Dude,
yeah.
even the birds sing. Like,
Yes, music is everywhere.
It's
You can't get away
everywhere.
from it, man. Like the
Yeah.
birds will literally sing. There's literally a tune. You can't
Yeah.
get away from it. So when people, I've met one person in my lifetime where they're like, I don't listen to music. I'm like, how?
that's a lie. You
Like
can't.
even
yeah.
your heartbeat is a beat.
Yeah. Like, there's a rhythm to it.
There's a
Yeah.
rhythm to it, man. Like that's weird to me. Like
Yeah.
I don't even think that's possible.
You gotta interview that guy. We all have to meet
It was a
him.
long time ago. It was like a decade ago. I don't even remember that person because I'm like, you lying.
Yeah.
Like, you lying. That's not even possible.
Yeah.
That's not humanly possible. Like sometimes I'll just be like, to my own heartbeat. Like come on.
Yeah.
Like I can't not have music in my life. I know that was a double negative, but I can't. I just can't. And same thing with film. Like even when film didn't have sound, they had music.
They have music.
They
Yeah.
had somebody playing the piano.
Because they knew it wasn't gonna work.
Nah.
They knew people were gonna look at this and be confused as to what's happening. So you need music to direct them.
Right.
And that was, I mean, dude, man, like even now, like then you just have music and directed, and people got it. They understood. Oh, it's supposed to be funny, depending on how the sound went.
Yes.
And oh, this is supposed to be suspenseful.
Mm.
And it was a lot more innocent. Now it's like more intense with the suspense and stuff. But it's just crazy because like they knew this. They knew music helped create thought process. They knew
Right.
it helped people understand what's going on. So
Exactly, man. And you see it in video games too. Video
Yeah.
games are becoming more
cinematic, yeah.
And now like I like to play stealth games, whether it's like Assassin's Creed or
Yeah.
or
I stopped at Assassin's Creed
Oh,
3,
yeah.
by the way.
oh, I
Yeah.
stopped at Assassin's Creed Origins.
Uh,
That's when I stopped at 3 too,
yeah.
and then they actually like redid everything.
Okay.
They took
Alright.
like 2 years off, did Assassin's Creed Origin. That's still my favorite Assassin's Creed. I haven't played any Assassin's Creed after that, but
They just killed off Desmond. I just did it. I know we're going off topic, but
Yeah.
dude, like I was a huge fan of Assassin's Creed. Like 1 and 2 bombs, but like good bombers. Like they
Right,
were
right.
really good.
Right.
And then 3 comes, and then you find out he
and I
died
knew you
at
meant
the
good.
end.
I knew you meant a good bomb by the way you said it.
Yeah.
I can hear the sound, right?
Exactly. Yeah. But and then he dies at the end. And it's like, that's it. Like he's supposed to be the ultimate assassin. I was
know,
disappointed.
man.
I was just, I would never stop being disappointed with Assassin's Creed. That will forever live with me.
Did you see the movie?
No, but I didn't see the movie with Michael Fassbender, right?
I might be
Magneto.
yes.
Yeah,
I might be the one of 5 guys who actually liked
I
that
actually
movie.
liked it. I wanted to check it out because I was a fan. Like, but nah, I didn't watch it.
It was good. I like the score.
I'll check it out. I'll definitely check it out.
But yeah, like video games, like I like to play stealth games, like Ghost Recon and stuff.
Mm.
And like when you go into stealth, the music changes,
Mm.
and then when they find you, the music changes. Dun-dun-dun-dun. But
Yeah.
when it's like you're in stealth, you're hiding, it's like dun, 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 mm, mm. Like it's real quiet. Like, and I can always tell if somebody saw me without the HUD on screen showing me by
Mm.
the music. If the music's like
Yeah.
dun, 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 it's like, oh, somebody caught me. Dang, man,
Hey,
dang.
have you seen the memes? Why do I hear boss battle music? Like, you know the boss is coming depending on how
Yeah, you
it
know it's
sounds.
coming with the music, man.
Yeah.
And like one of my favorite games, still to this day, the remake of God of War in 2018, I think it came out.
Mm.
I still rock to that soundtrack. Did you ever play that game?
No.
Oh my gosh, you don't even have to play the game. Just listen to the soundtrack. Go on YouTube and watch the game. Because it's like a movie, that's why I love it.
Mm.
And it's such a good movie from start to finish. It's so good, and the soundtrack, dun, 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 like it's amazing. For me, I'm a big fan of using voices in music. Like we talked about, The Dark Knight Rises.
Oh yeah, the
with
chant.
dish it, bossa.
Yeah.
I love chants. They use it in they use like Nordic chants in the God of War music. I I remember watching the making of Gladiator, and he talked about Ridley Scott talked about for the music. They knew they needed something more for the music, so they added this woman, I forgot her name, to do the voices of the like this kind of like mystifying spiritual kind of singing that she did, and now you see it replicated in so many movies like 300 and TV shows like Game of Thrones, where Lord of the Rings, where they have somebody singing over the track, and it's like really, ooh, I can't do it, but yeah, like I really like chants, and I think it's because it's like using a human voice as a beat, and I love that. Like I like 808s. I love
the bass.
Yes, I love 808s, man, and
yeah, it's like with Marty O'Donnell was Halo, like
oh yeah,
that iconic. Oh
yes. I rock the Halo.
What's really cool with it too is how they like in the second game they really brought it with the electric guitar. The greatest solo, dude, or one of the greatest solos. Like it's really great.
And I never really owned Xbox. Never really played those games.
But you know it.
But
yeah.
I rock those soundtracks.
Yeah.
Like I'm the guy who goes in Spotify's like cinematic soundtrack, game soundtrack, and if I like it, I put it on the list, man. I just be rocking out to that stuff, man. Like I feel like I used to say this, but it's not just movie soundtracks anymore. It's video game soundtracks. Our modern day classical music. Like
that's actually a really good way of looking at it too. Because no one will listen to classical music, but if it's associated with a video game, then maybe some people will listen to it. So yeah, I never thought of it that way.
People will say they don't listen to classical music. I'm like
ancient music or whatever.
I'm like, yeah, you do.
Yeah. What's your favorite game?
Yeah. What's your favorite movie or what's your favorite TV show? You listen to classical music. Like Bear McCreary. Oh, he's an awesome composer, man. He does a lot of TV. He's doing movies now. He's done Black Sails, The Walking Dead, those TV themes. Yo, awesome. Amazing, man. And I'm like, if you watch those shows, if you're a fan of the music there, you listen to classical music. you definitely listen to classical music. But, yeah, like me, myself, I grew up on that music too. Like, Beethoven, Mozart, Tchaikovsky, big fan of them. Especially Beethoven, that's my guy, man. I like his mellow music. His Fur Elise is my favorite track, one of my favorite tracks of all time. I rock that. Moonlight Sonata, I love that.
Yeah,
but
yeah, that's a classic. Yeah, that's in like all of the Resident Evils, right? That's in the first one, right? Yeah, I think it is. I think it is.
I think so. And another classical track. It's not really classical. I don't know, the Ave Maria. The Ave Maria. That's played in a lot of video games, a lot of TV, a lot of movie. That's played over and over again, man. That's one of those songs. That song is like, it's almost like the Willem Scream, man. It's in almost everything, man.
Yeah, that's another.
Willem Scream, man. It's in so many things, and you can recognize it, man. Shout out to John Williams.
Yeah.
like I mentioned Hans Zimmer, so I gotta mention John Williams. That's my other guy, man. He's
yeah.
I don't know how old you are, but I grew up on John Williams, Jurassic Park, Indiana Jones, Star Wars, of course. John Williams is my guy.
Back to the Future.
Yes.
Yeah, dude.
Yes, man. He's so iconic.
Some of them sound the same too. Like I know Superman is and then you have Star Wars.
It's just like a play on things.
But it's crazy because like you can distinguish them. You know, oh yeah, Superman. Or and it's so iconic. Like I know Men of Steel has their own Superman theme, but people
Hans Zimmer did that.
Yeah, I know the piano, but people will always associate the classic Superman theme. Like that's always gonna like live in the back of your head. And you're always going to distinguish and know. And one thing I like about Star Wars, though, is that they never changed the soundtrack. Nah. It's the same. In the video games, in the shows.
They just remix, man. It's too
Yeah.
iconic to change it.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's too iconic.
So yeah, that's one thing I can appreciate with Star Wars is this continuity
Yes.
with this sound.
They just add to Star Wars. Like Duel of Fates. Oh, that track is amazing.
Dude, yeah, that's a really good one.
Like, come on.
And that's in the prequels, so you can't
That's
hate
in the prequels,
You can't
man.
hate the prequels
Nah.
because it has one of the best tracks. So
It like takes the fight scene and just boosts it
Yeah.
up. Man, like, am I getting them mixed up? Is Duel of Fates the one with Darth Maul and
yeah, that's Duel of
That's
the Fates. And the reason why it's called Duel of the Fates,
Oh yeah, because they were fighting over the fate of Anakin.
Anakin, yep.
We're deep cuts right now, but
Yeah.
we're getting deep. But they were fighting over the fate of Anakin, and ultimately I don't want to say the wrong guy died, but he did. Because let's be honest, if Qui-Gon Jinn trained Anakin Skywalker, his path would have been different.
Definitely, because he would have been a father figure to him.
Yes, because Obi-Wan ultimately trained Anakin out of
obligation.
Yeah. And it shows in his teachings and how he treated him. He was like, "Oh, your senses aren't as honed as mine."
Right,
But he was
yeah.
just like matter of fact, the guy, and the guy looked at him like a father figure. But Obi-Wan looked at him like a little annoying brother.
Right, yeah, exactly, yeah.
You know, but these are deep cuts.
Yeah, dude, I'm a fan. I love Star Wars, man.
But remind me again, what was the song for when Anakin and Obi-Wan were fighting?
Oh,
And
that's
the third.
in the Mustafar.
It's like Heroes, Battle of Heroes. I think it's called Battle of Heroes. Yo, that's my track too, bro. That's my track
It's
too.
not, it's not that one. I'm trying to remember. But
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about. I just
can pull up the Spotify playlist right
yeah.
now, but I won't. I don't want to get copyrighted.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Good-
man,
good
that's my
catch, yeah.
track, man. John Williams killed it. Yo, that's my track.
It's unfortunate because in the sequels, music didn't really stood out to me. They had a Kylo Ren theme, but yeah.
I think that was because the music kind of stood out to me. I think it was just because of the material, the execution, how befuddled it was. It kind of distracted from the music of the movies, because John Williams came back, did his thing, killed it as usual. It was just the movies were all over the place.
Yeah.
After 7, it was like
Yeah, like 7 was decent. It was good.
Yes.
Like I accepted 7,
yes.
but then I rejected 8.
And I reject the 9 too.
Yeah.
9 negated the sacrifice of the chosen one. And
Yeah, I did.
6.
Yeah.
And it kind of messed up the prophecy. We're going deep cuts again, but
No, yeah.
I can talk about Star Wars all day,
Yeah,
man.
I
Like-
can too, man.
Like, I didn't know you was a Star Wars fan, so now I'm like, oh, we could have some conversations, but
yeah.
yeah, it kind of
Whoa.
negated it. But my one boy made me feel better. He was like, it didn't really negate it because Palpatine was a clone. Remember that in 9. I was like, yeah, I guess the original did die.
All right.
He was a clone. He was a
I
clone
guess.
in 9. So I was like, okay.
I guess.
You kind of saved it there, but they still messed it up.
Yeah.
Yes. So, but yeah.
Let's not get
Yeah,
into that.
that's gonna
Let's
go down
not-
a whole different rabbit hole.
Yeah.
I could talk hours and hours of Star Wars.
Oh,
but
my.
needless to say, the soundtrack was amazing.
Mhm.
The sound design was amazing. The sound effects. I keep forgetting his name, but he's an OG in
Oh,
the
is
sound
it-
effects game.
Is it?
We even learned about him in Brett's class.
Yeah.
He won an award for the sound design.
What is his name?
I want to say it starts with R. I keep forgetting, but
Bird.
what can I say his
Is it
age?
Bird?
I don't think so.
I don't know, man, dude. But I know who you're talking about.
Yeah,
I know
yeah.
exactly who you're talking
I know
about.
his face.
Yeah.
It's crazy because I know his face. I've seen his face plenty of times. He's won a lot of awards, and I've watched a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff with him. But yeah, I can't remember his name. But yeah, he won an award for that sound design. And like when I look back at that, when he was doing that, what was that? The 70s, late 60s.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
I know now how you can make those sounds. But back then, I'm like, how can you make those sounds? And he found a way. And now those sounds
Yeah.
are still iconic. They're still using those laser sounds,
Yeah.
those lightsaber sounds. Like,
Yeah, it's crazy how he creative and how simplistic those sounds were, because the
Right.
lightsaber sound, right? It was just him moving a microphone with another microphone, I think. Like the movement of the lightsaber is just 2 microphones, like
that's crazy.
zoom zoom, and then the laser sound was just him hitting the electric wire. Like,
Yeah,
choo,
I
choo.
remember that. He was like,
Yeah,
that's crazy. I'm just like, that's how you know some people are born to do what they do.
Yeah.
And that's how you know you should be in your own lane. Like, when I went into film, there's so many things you could do in the film. When I looked at sound, because I was like, I'm a music guy. I grew up on music. I was like, when I saw how they did their stuff, I'm like, yeah, I ain't built for that. So when I do my films, I'm going to refer to people like that who clearly are like on a whole nother level than me. So,
you know, for me, what gets me is just how simple, like it's just simple, you know.
Yes.
It's just
because people like that, they see life in a whole different lens.
Like it looks,
well, they hear life in a whole different lens.
Like it looks complicated. Like Star Wars looks complicated. All of these sound effects sounds complicated. But when you look at how it's done, it's just simple. But it just takes time, you know.
Right.
It takes dedication. Like with the ship. Well, we're going off the topic with the special effects, but if we go to the sound, like it's really simple. It's just taking your time doing it, you know, and people wouldn't like.
I think the sounds of the ships were Formula One cars or something like that. I think I can't remember.
I don't know. I have to see. I have to, but yeah, it just amazes me how like a lot of times it's just things we wouldn't think about because we wouldn't take the time to like think about it or like do it because we're just maybe too busy with life or whatever.
Right.
So,
yeah. Some people just see it differently. Like even with me, like I'll watch something and I'll point something out. Somebody's like, how did you even see that? Or I'll be like, I would have done this angle a different way because the character is talking this way and they're trying to convey. They're like, how do you see that? Or sometimes I'll even hear like, oh, I can tell they use a different mic for that scene.
Yeah.
Or something like that. Like clearly I'm built for film, but not sound design.
It's crazy that you bring that up because I feel like studying it really opens your ears and your eyes to a lot of these things. Like I wouldn't, before school, I would have never thought about listening to how a mic sound or how like an audio sound in a specific scene. I would have never thought of that. But now it's like, oh yeah, they used a different mic. They were using a lavalier for that one. Because maybe something happened with the boom pole or whatever. Like there can be many stories as to why, but yeah, that was definitely a different mic.
Yeah, when I visit my mom, like she'll joke like she can't watch certain shows with me because I'm just like, it's nails on the chalkboard, Mom. I can't watch the show. It's so they don't put the money in the audio. Like I could tell they're using a different mic. I could tell they changed it, or I could tell this was dubbed line. Like they didn't put it right.
When the mouth doesn't move or match, you're looking at it like really closely. Dude.
I remember I broke down a whole show to her. She's like, I can't watch this show.
Dude, the best thing, and that's why I love it. But the best thing to watch, if you want to really like see and nitpick, is Justice League and Snyder Cut, dude. It's the best thing. If you want to like see like the mistakes and
like I'm like,
what was ADR and what wasn't. Dude,
exactly,
it's just crazy.
Exactly. I'm like, oh, that was ADR. You could tell.
Yeah,
like, you can hear the difference.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that room tone is different. Like you can even like when I just look at it visually, I'm just like, oh, it's just like an eyesore to me. Yeah, because like the Whedon cut, like you could tell they just bumped up the saturation.
Yeah.
In the visuals, and I'm like, oh, it looks so weird. Yeah. I kind of like the toned down,
the moody look. Yeah, the cinematic look.
Yes. But in the Whedon cut, they just bumped up the saturation, and it's like, I guess it was so last minute, they were like, just bump it up. So it looks a little more poppy.
The thing about Whedon, his stuff looks like TV. Like if you watch the Avengers, like
if you
good.
go back and watch Avengers,
like it's good, but
it looks like a TV movie. Bro.
Yeah, it's not even color graded. I don't think it is.
Yes, but when it came out in 2012, that was the first time we ever seen a movie like that.
And that's the only reason why.
Yeah, that was the first time we had so many characters on screen
seeing
playing
them together,
the same characters from their other movies.
Yeah.
So as a comic book fan, I'm a blurred. I'm a black nerd. I've always been a blurred. So for me, I was like, yo, I'm so excited. And then when I revisited the movie like a couple years later, I was like, this kind of looks like something off of CBS or something.
Yeah.
And you could tell because he came from TV. So
yeah, he did came from TV.
It was ingrained in the movie, and it's kind of,
it sticks out. Like I don't think it
when you revisit it, it's kind of
like it doesn't have a long like if you watch, and I have to bring it up because it came out the same time as the Avengers, The Dark Knight Rises, right? And for me, that was the movie.
You mean The Dark Knight?
The Dark Knight Rises.
Dark Rises did come out 2012.
Yeah, it came out the same time as the Avengers. Everyone was excited for the Avengers. I was kind of like, because I always liked it, Nolan. I was like The Dark Knight was like, for me, that was like the biggest game changer in like the way of watching movies. But but The Dark Knight Rises came out, and I remember watching that after the Avengers. And I'm like, man, this movie for me is just so much better because, like, it looks like a movie.
Yeah.
It feels like a movie. Like, Avengers was good, but like, it just didn't work for me. It just
looked
didn't.
like a Saturday morning.
And what really stuck out, because we got to go back in topic, was the music. The music in The Dark Knight Rises, especially when he's climbing out from that hole, was like, dude, I wanted to get up from the seat and like be Batman, you know?
Bro, like, I'm gonna say something very controversial. I like The Dark Knight Rises better than The Dark Knight. Don't kill me.
I don't even hate you for that, dude. Because
it's just because the music, like, you could tell Hans Zimmer and Christopher Nolan were like, look, this is going to be this is going to be the end.
It's the last one, you know, we
gotta bring it. And they brought that, like, I don't know who did the sound design, but even the sound design of the movie, just like scenes where there's no music, like,
man, and
it hits you.
I love the way the bat sounded too, like the flying, the
you're like one of the few people I could talk to about that, because like, I think it just took it to a whole nother level.
Yeah,
like,
it sucks that we only saw it once too. That's the only, but
yeah, man, I wish they would re-release it so I could watch it, because I saw it one time in the theaters, and it was mind blowing. Like, my girlfriend at the time, she wasn't into that kind of movies, but that scene where Batman and Bane are fighting for the first time, she was like, "Oh my gosh, oh my!" She was gasping every time, because I was just like, "Yeah, he's whooping him." Like you could feel it. Like, you could feel the vibrations in the movie theater with the bass. Man.
I love the dialogue too in that scene, dude.
Yes.
Theatricality
in
the structure.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, when he pulled him out of the shadows, that sound like,
yeah.
Like, you heard it, like, you felt it throughout the theater.
And then when he breaks the coal, I love that too,
yes.
man.
Yes, man. Like, like, what did he say? He said, "I was born in it."
Yeah.
Like, you adopted the dog, but I was born in it. Like, I was like, yeah. Like,
and you see, like, I can talk about that movie even though it's been out for almost 10 years.
Yes.
Avengers, I mean, but they got new Avenger movies, so I guess you can talk about Endgame.
Exactly. You
stuff.
talk about, when you think about the Avenger movies, you think about the Russo Avenger movie.
Yeah, you're thinking about Infinity War. You're thinking about Endgame.
I count Civil War as an Avengers movie. I know some people don't.
Yeah, I count that too.
I count that as an Avengers movie. Like, I count Captain America 3 as a Avengers movie. So, but wait, was that 2? Or? No, it was 3.
That was 3.
Captain America 3. Yes. I count that as an Avengers movie. I'm like, you think about the Russo Avengers movies, where they look like movies.
Yeah, they look and feel like movies.
Yeah, like the original Avengers kind of had a poppy look and a poppy soundtrack, and I like what he took, Alan Silvestri, what he took with his score and the leading the Avenger movies after those. How they became more grandiose and more moody and like.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was kind of poppy in the first Avengers movie.
Yeah.
But
and I'm not bashing it or anything.
No.
You know, I'm like I said, like it was a good movie. It was good in its time, especially.
Yes.
But it was just, for me, it was just missing that cinematic feel.
Right.
You know, it didn't really stood out.
Right. You know? And for me, like, when it comes to Justice League, I'm 100% with the Snyder Cut, and I rock that sound. Yeah, I rock that soundtrack. The Snyder Cut, man.
Especially when Superman comes back, and they had that music.
Come on,
that was great.
It's way more impactful with that soundtrack, that color grading, and the way he came back in.
Yeah,
you know, like when you see the original Justice League, the Joss Whedon cut, his suit is all bright blue. It's like super bright blue, and it's like. It's kind of weird.
It was kind of.
It was like.
Yeah. It was just like
it was
that.
kinda cool. He's like, hey, I'm back.
Yeah, he might as well should have just said that. He's like, what did he say? He said something. But I also believe in justice.
Oh yeah. That was the corniest line. I was like, that's a Whedon line right there, baby.
Oh my goodness.
That was like $10,000 for that rewrite right there.
And then they had Batman smiling. I was like, oh, come on.
My God. Batman had the most jokes
Yeah.
in that movie than anybody.
Which is not a character that should have, like, it should have been
The Snyder
Flash
cut,
or something.
the Snyder cut, the characters were actually acting like themselves.
Yeah.
Whereas Whedon, they were acting like a Saturday morning like TV show Power Rangers cut or something. Like,
Because
that's a style though.
that is a style.
That's a
It just didn't work.
Nah, it didn't work.
Like, yeah.
But to wrap it up, I mean,
yeah, go ahead.
music is the most, I feel like, well, not music, just sound in general is the most important component in a film. And if you're going to go into film and you got a little bit of money, spend most of it, if not all of it, on the audio. And that includes sound design, dialogue, music. That includes everything audio-wise. So just concentrate on that.
Yeah, I agree. To add to that again, crappy visual, but good audio.
Right.
You can have bad visual, but as long as you have good audio,
Exactly. And on that note, my nomads, that was the Bitcast. Catch us next time and be creative. Peace. Yeah, I had to end that real quick because the cameras stopped.
That was fun. I liked this conversation. How do you stop this?
I just hit the record button.